our native land, our native land, our native, our native, our native land. Hoya, hoya, our native land.
Okay, I'm here with Councillor Kelsie Robinson. He has been elected as a member of the Council on the Homalco First Nation since 2017. Since his election, Robinson has been heavily involved with the nation's tourism company and served as operations manager in 2019. Currently, he is enrolled at Royal Roads University and plans to obtain a Bachelors in Business Administration. Robinson plans on aiding his nation in economic development with the degree and helping the nation grow in a positive way. Kelsie, thank you and welcome to our native land.
Thanks for the introduction, Chad. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you here. You are my cousin, and you are the first cousin on the show. There's no trophy for it, but I'm going to mention it. How do you feel?
I feel honored. I want to stick it.
All right, we're gonna hang out. Well, let's hang out and have some fun. Although we're cousins, and I, grew up with you, and I know you. I'd like to think I know you fairly well. A lot has happened, when we are adults and we move off the reserve, and things change with our lives here. So I just want to kind of get caught up. I know you were studying to be a nurse, and then you switched to tourism. So lots going on with your education. Can you kind of maybe take me through what you've done so far?
Sure. So since high school graduation 2012, I did my prereqs for Bachelor of Science in Nursing program and was enrolled full-time in studies at Camosun College in 2013. Great program there, by the way, but it wasn't quite for me because I don't like the sight or smell of bodily fluids, really. I thought it would get better after first semester, but I was wrong.
Yeah, like most people, we're not interested in that. So it takes a certain kind of human being. I can agree.
Yeah, bless all the nurses out there, though.
Absolutely. So yeah, you did nursing, and then what?
After nursing, I went back to lifeguarding, swim instructing, and then didn't really know what I wanted to do. And then all of a sudden, Homalco put this posting out. Hey, we're putting a call out for tour guides. And I'm like, all right, let's sign up for this. And then I found out it was bear guiding. And lo and behold, I didn't even know our nation was doing bear tours. And then next thing you know, we're immersed in this sort of cultural program and getting trained up to be guides. And
Yeah, tell me a bit more about that. So there's like cultural training involved to kind of get you started before you do the tour guide, and then kind of maybe take me through a day of what tour guiding is.
sounds good. So with our cultural program, Homalco had lost, a lot of our culture through the residential school system, being relocated from Church House to, Campbell River, Vancouver, and Siam in the 1980s. And we didn't really have a voice. We didn't really have any strong protocols or culture anymore. And then our brothers from our sister nation, Drew and Eric Blaney, came over to Homalco, and they shared some legends and stories and gifted the nation with 5 songs, which 16 of us that were enrolled in the cultural program all learned to sing and drum and dance to. And that was very, very powerful. And it helped us with our guiding component for the tourism company immensely.
hmm Oh wow, that's awesome. So you did that, and that sort of gained a bit of interest into maybe studying tourism and business. So maybe tell me how being a tour guide evolved to the education you're doing now.
Sure. So I seen the great potential that Homalco had back in 2015 when they took me on as a guide. I went back there in 2016 and knew immediately I wanted to gain a bigger role in tourism. So to do that, I got to make myself more indisposable. And how do I do that? I enroll myself in post-secondary studies. So in 2016 there, I got a certificate in business administration. And then the next 2 years, I built up my experience in tourism by working over at Night Inlet Lodge in 2017. They were the first sole grizzly bear viewing operation on the coast of British Columbia in 1996. They sort of started what you could call bear wildlife viewing tours. They did a huge array of things. They had a 6-month season, and I gained a lot of bear viewing experience from them. And then the following year in 2018, I became a whale guide with big animal encounters out of Campbell River. So on top of the bear guiding experience, general tourism experience from Night Inlet Lodge, and the whale watching experience from big animal encounters, I built my foundation and experience in tourism. And to supplement that, I got a diploma in business administration by 2019.
Hmm. And now you're studying business administration, like a full bachelor's. You're in the third year. Is that correct?
Yeah, at Royal Roads University. So got a diploma and then I applied at Royal Roads, and that's 2 years of full-time studies.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, it sounds like you've put a lot of education under your belt, and I'm sure that's going to help you out in the long run. Now, what this is kind of a little veering off topic, but you talk about being a tour guide. What's sort of like the craziest, coolest like animal experience that you can remember? And like you're probably talking whales, seals, otters. Like, what? Tell me something crazy. Oh, you got a
So
picture
this
there.
is the bear yeah, from Night in the Lodge.
Yeah,
She me every day.
yeah.
Anyway, so I was pulling these guests up on this river in this little pontoon boat. They're meant to be manhandled, walked around the estuary in Glendale Cove and Night Inlet.
Okay.
We were going up the river there, and I was pulling my guests in my chest waders, walking the river up the river there. And then all of a sudden, we seen this bear grazing in the sedge grass.
Hmm.
And next thing you know, like we're watching it, we're a safe distance away, probably 80 meters across the river.
Hmm.
And then the dinner bell to these bears starts to ring.
Yeah.
These salmon swimming up this shallow part of the river,
Yeah.
like not even 2 feet away from the pontoon boat.
Yeah.
And right away, you could see like bear's ears go up.
Yeah.
Look back, I looked at the gas and I said, okay, don't worry, the bear's gonna come charging for us, but they're after the salmon, not us. And
Yeah.
sure enough, the bear came running through the river,
Yeah.
and the closest I've ever gotten to a grizzly bear.
Yeah. So
It
like
tried
2 meters, 2 meters from you?
and probably a meter away, it splashed
Oh,
me fast.
wow. And so it just kind of pounced on the fish kind of right in front of you in the pontoon boat. Is that correct?
Chased the fish down the river, so
Wow, that's
it was
crazy.
experience.
I mean, I think that would hook anybody in. If you're just kind of like trying to figure out what you wanted to do in life, and then you're like being a tour guide, and then you just have those crazy experiences. Do you think that just kind of like I need to do more of this, and I want to help grow this? You think moments like that really change you?
I think so. I think there's a personal sort of cultural experience to it, and then there's more social side to things. Like, hey, I want to share the experience with other people, and that's what got me hooked into it.
That's awesome. Okay, so now let's move into a bit of the political career you have. So you are the youngest councillor ever to be elected to the Homalco First Nation, possibly one of the youngest Indigenous youth to be elected on a council anywhere in British Columbia or maybe even Western Canada. Don't have the stats on that, but you're a young buck. So tell me a little bit about why you decided to run and why was it so important.
Yeah, so I guess from a young age, I sort of felt like I had some amount of leadership capacity, and hung out with my elders and my family, and got to know sort of the core traditional values of Indigenous culture and whatnot, and just tried carrying them out in everyday life. And I have a huge passion for my people and First Nations people in North America in general, and
Hmm.
I just wanted to help out in any way I can. And elections were coming up in 2017. I had a year of business in school under my belt, and had the chance to learn the tourism business in Homalco, and felt I could, benefit the nation in that sense. So decided to run and got in.
Oh, look at that. And do you find yourself now that you're a part of the council and you talk about helping your tribe and helping the community? So can you maybe tell me an example or two since you've been elected that has really, made you proud of what you're doing?
Sure. So I'll speak to tourism first off. I got elected in 2017, but I didn't become manager of the operations manager of the operation until 2019, because I felt I didn't quite have all the experience I needed to really be a key asset to Homalco at the time. So that's when I worked at Night in the Lodge, gained all the experience there, bear guiding, and then 2018, the following year, I went to whale guiding, and those are two huge components of our bear tours,
Mm-hmm.
because guests come from Campbell River, they hop on a whale watching vessel,
Mm-hmm.
and then they take a 2 hour trip up to Orford,
Yeah.
where we immerse them in a bear program,
Mm-hmm.
our own unique bear program. And then they go back onto a whale watching vessel, back to Campbell River, and often stop for maybe half hour, 45 minutes to view whales and whatnot.
Wow.
And so I helped develop the People Water Land Tour for Homalco Tours. And it was first launched in 2019. First year, we added a cultural component to it. We added sort of marine viewing, wildlife experience to it. And we didn't really get to see that grow because in 2020, the pandemic happened and we
Mm-hmm.
chose not to operate. But it's firing up again this year, and we're getting new boats. I'm excited for that.
Wow, that sounds like an amazing accomplishment. And I know one of the very first few episodes of Our Native Land, I saw the website about that tour that you just talked about, and I was kind of like sad because it was during COVID. Obviously, I'm like I would have hopped on the boat right away. It sounds like an amazing experience. So I'm sure you're very proud of it.
That's right.
Yeah. Are you gonna run for chief? Like one day, like, do you think you're just gonna like just hop into it? Do you think you're gonna gain so much experience and be a counselor a couple more times? Like, well, what's your thoughts on that? You heard it here first. Breaking news.
I'll let no, anytime soon. No, I gotta build I gotta go out and live and gain experience in the work field and hopefully start my own business someday.
Hmm. Well, it sounds like
Yeah,
you're doing every step right, and whoever's supporting you is probably very very proud of you, and I'm happy that we're taking the time to talk about your successes so far. So speaking about success and kind of pushing forward, do you have any inspirational people in your life that's kind of helps you move along, like Indigenous, whether Indigenous or not? Do you have any inspirational people?
uh, sorry, I would assume before being elected to council, Drew and Eric Blaney are real cultural ambassadors for the Slam First Nation,
Hmm.
and they've shared a lot of knowledge with Homalco and have done so throughout the years and have come and helped us through thick and thin with celebrations and ceremonies such as funerals and whatnot. And I really look up to them on the cultural component. And then after getting in for council, I've just met so many people. And I want to give so many shout outs, but I would have to she's not native, but she was our band administrator for 3.5 years, Sue Hanley.
Hmm.
Such a crazy story. I got to touch on it.
Yeah, go for
Uh,
it.
for a band administrator, and at the time when a new chief and council came in, and this lady was 6 years into retirement. And what do me and Chief Darren Blaney do? We go sit down with her, ask if she wants to come on for a
Yeah,
part-time 3-month contract. She says sure.
yeah.
Comes in, and then next thing you know, 3 months turns to 6, and then it turns to a year, and then it turns to another year, another year. And next thing you know, we're at 3.5 years, and she's really done so much for Homalco. She's probably logged an unbelievable amount of hours just in the administration office.
Hmm.
Her first year in, it would be common for her to arrive to the band office at 7 a.m. and then 9 a.m. I'd look up and she'd still be in the office just grinding away.
Wow.
And it'd be like that 5 days a week. So she's not Indigenous herself, but I consider herself an honorary member of Homalco now. I go to her for advice. We have coffee, and I just love her. She's like an adopted grandmother to me.
That's awesome. Well, it's nice, and everybody needs those kind of people in their life to help them, process a lot of information where we want to go personally in life. Especially during COVID and these hard times. I can only imagine having people like that is so important.
Yeah.
So let's go and kind of veer into the idea of like, what do you think are some of the biggest issues for the Homalco First Nation right now? What are you trying to improve on? What are council's focuses? What do you think are the biggest issues, and what are the people of the Homalco First Nation wanting out of their chief and council? I know it's a big question, but just off the top of your head, what comes to mind?
comes to mind is health of the overall people, mentally, physically, and Homalco, just where it's situated. Sorry, and with poor transportation throughout the Campbell River area,
Hmm.
it's hard for people in our community to really go out and get easy access to recreation, health services that the Greater Campbell River communities provides. We're right on the outskirts. They put us on a swamp. We're so far out now, and it's just now that Timber Westlands is building up. Finally, nearer towards us, the Homalco Reservation on Campbell River there,
Hmm.
and I hear not too far away that they're going to be putting a strip mall
Okay.
sort of in. So that's super exciting. But getting back to the topic, I really think Homalco, along with many other communities throughout Canada, needs to work on health and overcoming the traumas that the residential school system
Hmm.
put onto us not all too long ago.
Hmm. Okay, Kelsey. So speaking about the benefits of the health for the community, there is a fairly brand new health center on the reserve. So can you tell us a little bit about the benefit that has for the Homalco First Nation?
Yeah, they provide some health services in regards to dental checkups, and they got a full-time nurse on site, and she works closely with the elders in the community, checking up on them frequently, making sure, checking their meds, making sure they get to their appointments. And then aside from that, we have some counselors on staff and uh, community health rep, and we have Lorraine Harry, who I'm fairly glad is working with us. She is actually one of the people that have inspired my vision a little bit for where I want to see the Homalco people. Back when she was running to be on chief and council, she had mentioned, we could be the richest and wealthiest community in Canada, but it won't matter at all if we're not healthy ourselves.
Hmm.
And she's got such a deep, rich background in healthcare. She's worked with First Nations Health Authority quite a bit, and now she's working for Homalco as their health director. And I really think the work her and her team's putting in right now is building momentum,
Hmm.
and we're going to start seeing some great results.
That's awesome. I even heard there's a dentist that comes like once or twice a week too. Like it's pretty comprehensive.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know too much about the dentist that comes on site. I thought it was mostly just for basic cleanings or checkups or something like.
Yeah, yeah, I heard something about that. Now, quickly, we're almost out of time. I want to talk quickly in regards to obviously COVID-19 is still a bit of an issue right now with many First Nation communities. So, how has I know the Homalco First Nations had some vaccines delivered to the reserve. Has that been dealt with, and do you feel like the community is starting to get some protection?
I believe so. There's always people that are with it and people that are opposed to it. And right now we're just trying to get out reliable information to the community.
Mhm.
So those people that are against, say, getting the vaccine and whatnot, will be getting all the proper information, and will get the chance to get a vaccine if they wish.
Okay, that's good. Awesome. Now, I talked a little bit about it earlier in the interview, but I just kind of want to wrap up this conversation again with what does your future see? I want to get back to you. You have a incredible educational background and professional background so far. So, where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? With all the education experience you have, what's the outlook for Kelsey?
Um, Let me see. It's always been my goal to run my own business, and then with Homalco having access to Orford Bay and the Grizzly Bear viewing operation, and our need for approximately 10 boating vessels to leave Campbell River and bring guests into Orford.
Hmm.
The goal is to eventually get a vessel or two that can start supplying that,
Hmm.
and then we'll get some, GDP circulating within Homalco as opposed to having to outsource all of the all of those services to the greater Campbell River community.
Hmm. Awesome. Well, it sounds like you have some good goals in mind. It sounds like you have some good education behind you. Quickly tell me, because I just want to know so bad, because you talked about the bear story. Tell me one other good tour story with like another good experience. I just found it so interesting.
Okay, I'll go to Wales this time.
Yeah,
It
Wales.
was my mother's birthday in 2018, and man, there's this beautiful place just near the north end of Cortez Island there between Reed and Cortez, and it's just above the Penn Islands, and it's probably one of my favorite places to be. And it was my mother's birthday, and my boss had told me, "Yeah, take your mother out sometime." And I was nervous to ask that day, so I didn't ask. But
Hmm.
turns out that was probably the best whale watching experience I had ever had. Brought guests out there, and all of a sudden we seen a breaching whale out probably 2 miles out, and we get good visibility up there. And so next thing you know, we're going up, and then another whale breaches, and next thing you know, three whales are putting on a breaching show for us for well over an hour. And it was getting to the point where, you're sitting in a Zodiac and you need some air conditioning. So guests are overheating, and you tell everyone to zip back up and we're going to hit the road again.
Yeah,
So it was crazy. We had to leave three breaching humpback whales in a circle there
that's
to
great.
go cool down.
That sounds like a cool experience. I quickly had one just before we end. I had one very similar to that. I was doing a whale tour in Tofino, and on the way back, we were just kind of zip before it got too dark, and we had a whole bunch of killer whales breaching, and then all of a sudden they started turning left, right, center, and then down, and then there was nothing, and they were like, "Where'd they go?" They managed to catch a seal or some kind of a dolphin, and they were just eating it down there, and then they are just ripping it apart. I'm assuming it's probably gory. And then they come back up, and all of a sudden they did like this dance show for us, and they were like dancing and playing. They were so happy that they killed this animal and they had a dinner. It was like the craziest, coolest whale experience too. So that just reminded me of it.
It's pretty dark.
Yeah, it's dark, but no, I mean, come on, okay. It's not dark. The actual like event was crazy because you think they're just hanging out, they're gone, and then they come up and they're dancing. That's the brighter version of it.
Carnivores down. Yeah.
Yeah, they are carnivores. Like, what are we going to do, right? All right. Well, you know what? Thank you, cousin, for coming on the show. Everybody, that was Kelsie Robinson, elected member of the council for the Homalco First Nation since 2017, a family member of mine and a fantastic human being that I grew up with just down the road on the Homalco Reserve. All right. Well, thank you so much, Kelsie, for coming on our native land. I wish you the best of luck. And again, thank you 100% over and over for coming on here, and I really appreciate it.
For sure. Thanks a lot, Chad. It's good to see you. Stay brown.
Yep. Good to see you too, man.